Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Collector Chowder podcast. This is episode 2, and I am Miggs, and I'm here with my co-host Charlie. Charlie, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a good week. I think our first show was pretty successful. We got a lot of good feedback. People really enjoying it, and there was a lot of, as we said last week, a lot of new pop news this week. A lot of new things came out, which I know
Yeah,
we'll run over. Big one I know we wanted to talk about first was the Funko Shop exclusive. They dropped the Pietro Maximoff, aka Quicksilver Pop from WandaVision, which I was really surprised to see that get restocked. I don't know. Were you?
I I was surprised when it did, like the fact that it dropped when it did. It was on Funko Shop with that notify me for a while since the original drop. So that's the only reason why, like, I wasn't shocked necessarily that it eventually would,
Okay.
but it was a pretty big gap from when we saw it the first time. And if you guys don't know, obviously the Pietro dropped. WandaVision was in its like full, everyone loved WandaVision at that time. And then it just sold out super fast. I didn't get it the first time. I believe you told me you didn't either.
No, and I really wanted that. So
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those ones. I remember when that dropped. I feel like honestly, it's kind of funny, but I feel like at that time, that was when Funko Shop drops were all sick. Like every time there was one, it was sick. I feel like it hasn't been like that in a while. So once that dropped, obviously shoot up in value. So it made it hard kind of for us to rebuy anyways. But the fact that we saw it drop again, I thought was super cool. It was a different process though this time. Did you notice now when you had to go in? I don't know if you guys tried to get it yourselves, but there was a queue process, which I personally haven't dealt with. I don't know if you have before with another
I've
pop.
only, not for a pop like that, only if it's been like for a con exclusive.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say for a con, it's a similar type of thing. But yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen it as a just a random pop, just a normal exclusive through Funko Shop. And if for those of you who didn't get in or didn't see it, basically you got the link like that it was out, you would jump in and it immediately put you instead of going to Funko Shop itself, it immediately put you into a queue system. And it basically said, the Pietro pop is dropping, you're this many minutes away, whatever, from the drop. And you kind of had to just wait it out. You couldn't refresh the page. It reminded me a lot of like buying Yeezys because that's kind of what happens. You get into a queue and you're sitting there forever. And I was kind of weary of it because I was like, oh, it's gonna sell out. It's like I don't know if it's gonna work. And I was able to grab one. And I immediately messaged you. And I'm assuming right at that time was when you also got
Yeah.
one. And you told me you got lucky too.
I was surprised actually, and then I could have went back on and got it. I'm really surprised at how many they had.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another thing. It did because I actually saw a lot of people getting like two. Like, I don't know what the limit was, but I kind of was just like, I just want one. I just want to, cash out, get out. And yeah, it seemed pretty easy, almost a little too easy. I was
Yeah, it was
also a
weird.
little scared. I was scared because I don't know if I was just checking up on like recent Funko drops or whatever it was, or like orders that I actually went in and I was looking at my, what's coming and like what I recently ordered. And that one was saying processing. And this was like a day or so after. And I'm like, are they gonna like cancel it or was it
Yeah.
really not legit? And then I got a message saying that it was being shipped. So I was like, all right, so I guess that
And mine
wasn't
already
bad. So I
shipped
mean,
too, so pretty
yeah,
pumped.
so I guess we're good. We both got lucky enough. We were able to snag it up. If it was a pretty popular pop. I know value wise, that's probably gonna affect it in the sense of the grand scheme of things of like now there's more out there, which makes you think like did they have all these in the beginning and then they drop them like halfway and then they
Exactly.
come back? Do you think that's what they do? It's weird to think like, or did they manufacture more? Like it's kind of confusing when it comes to, because I haven't seen a specific drop like that one, I guess, where it was
So,
that big of a gap between.
sometimes I wonder too, did they find inventory? As simple as
Yeah.
that. Like, which is crazy to say, but because I couldn't believe how quickly that sold out the first time. I mean, a lot of times I'm not lucky on getting these exclusives from the shop, but I at least feel like I have a chance. I wasn't even able, I went on that immediately when it went on sale and it was already gone
Mhm.
the first go
Yeah.
around. So I was like, maybe they didn't even sell all that they actually had and they found more.
Yeah, that's what I start to think now too, because of how fast it was. At the time you were able to, and I think even at that time when it first dropped, you could only get like one, or maybe they limited you
I
to
think you
two.
could only get one.
But yeah, and it was selling like crazy. So it made me think like the same thing, like you said, is it that they're just finding more stock? And I think that happens with Funko, maybe not all the time, but the only reason why I say that is because I'll go into Funko and basically go to the section that says like back in stock. And it's pretty, I for a while I didn't even know that existed. I didn't really ever look through there. And it's actually pretty cool because you'll see some really old pops. You'll see stuff that, not expensive, it's just common stuff, but you just don't really see for sale much. And you'll see that they restocked it. And sometimes I'm like, all right, cool. So did they just find more, in the warehouse somewhere? Like, hey, we have these many, let's just drop them on the site. Or are they just continuing to manufacture them? Because when it comes to these, essentially these common pops or these exclusive pops that aren't limited to like a piece count, they could probably make as many as they want, I'm assuming at that point, right? Like,
Yeah,
they're just dropping them and selling
whenever
them.
they want. And yeah, I don't know if the popularity of the show or they just wanted to get out more. Another interesting thing about that pop, though, that people may not know, I know last episode we were talking about spoilers.
Mhm.
One thing that people noticed when this first dropped was that his name was in parentheses, which at that
Yeah,
time, spoilers, if you haven't seen WandaVision, you ultimately do find out he is not that person at
actually him.
all. He's just a person in the town that was under the spell of
Yeah.
Agnes. So it was kind of interesting. I've never seen them really do a spoiler that sort of way. I thought that was kind of cool.
So did that actually drop before the show, or before he was shown on the show?
Not before he was shown on the show, but when you first see him, maybe you just think that is the character. You didn't
Yeah,
realize he was.
before you really found out what
Yeah.
the
So
show did with
that
him. Yeah.
like dropped during the run of the show. Like I think his character was introduced, and then like maybe a week later that pop was released.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so that makes sense then. So it is it, and it's Marvel, like we said, where it's like
Yeah.
the spoiler things, like they happen, but it seems like it's happening more with Marvel. And I didn't think it was happening that soon because I know more of the recent shows it's been doing that. But now that you say that, it makes sense because it does have the parentheses. It was a little odd, but it's like he said, it's basically that he's not really that character. I mean, obviously you would have to see when we spoiled it totally, but it's been long enough. You should have seen WandaVision
Yeah,
by now if you're a
exactly.
Marvel fan. So so spoilers are okay. But if not, we're watch it and then you'll know what we're talking about. It's a cool character. It's an interesting character actually because it also was one of those characters that was from a different universe, right? Kind of
Yep.
technically, I guess,
Yeah.
different movie type of thing, I guess you could say. So either way, I think it was good that we got it. I guess when it comes in, I'll do an unboxing at some point, I'm sure. But at least we'll be able to say that we got it. And now I'm hoping there's no more restocks
Yeah,
because
it's done.
keep it there. It's cool. It's exclusive. We got ours. But the queue system, I do want to say, bringing that back up, that I thought that was a good way of doing it. I don't know if that was just honest, like you're the first one in, you only got this many minutes, you're the next one in, you got this many minutes, because it really wasn't, it's hard to tell. It was just giving you a time. Mine changed a few times. It went from like 7 minutes back to 9, and
So did mine,
it
which was
was a little
weird.
weird. So yeah. So I don't know. So I guess it's better than the, all right, it's dropping at 9 o'clock. You get on at 9 o'clock, and at 9:01 everything's gone. So I guess it kind of maybe spread everyone out, and maybe it was a way of them to get rid of bots, or maybe like really check up on how you're processing the transaction. Maybe that's what they were doing. If that's the case, bravo to Funko for that, because hopefully that's the way we can get these big drops going forward, especially some of the ones I'm sure we're going to talk about with the news and stuff going on. So I'm glad you brought that up. I know that there was also a few other ones. I think you were pretty interested in this one, the Jurassic Park, Mr. DNA,
TNA. Yeah.
Target exclusive, right?
Yeah, I thought that one was really cool. I mean, if you're a Jurassic Park fan, you know what it is, but it's kind of, they never really make any merchandise of that.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see rather than just a random dinosaur or one of the main characters. And it feels, I know it's a Target exclusive, but it does feel like a special. Like, I'm surprised maybe Funko didn't take that one for a Funko exclusive. It seems like a special type of pop, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree actually, because we obviously have our things we can go in depth about Target, but it's still a cool exclusive. It's very different. It's actually kind of translucent, I think, or like
Yeah,
see-through somewhat, I believe, the pop, which is cool to see in pop form. But like you said, something different. It's it just kind of came out of nowhere. It's not like it's with another line that's other stuff
it's
coming
just
out.
totally
They've
random.
already
Yeah.
dropped a bunch of Jurassic Park stuff. So I thought that was interesting. I know you're a fan of that, but that was something that I saw in the news, and something recent that a recent drop that's coming, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, then
Did you
Target.
pre-order it?
I did pre-order it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
I didn't go after it. I don't have too much Jurassic Park stuff.
we'll see if I actually get it though. So
There you
you
go.
never
That's
know. But I'm
it.
gonna go with it's not as popular as a Marvel Pop, so I think I should be good.
Yeah,
Um,
that's usually the way to like see where it is. All right, is it this popular? If not, you'll probably come away with it at
Marvel
least.
seems
Hopefully,
to be
hopefully it
the
just doesn't come
only,
damaged.
yeah, which it could come damaged. I know, which is sucks. But going even on with Target, they also dropped another new exclusive line to them, the Stranger Things Blacklight, which I know you're a big fan
Yes.
of the Blacklight pops in general. So I feel like
Yep.
that's going to continuously, Target's going to keep making maybe different lines with the Blacklight.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I kind of wanted to go into like picking your brain on what you think about that because I know you came into the Blacklight a little bit later than the original drops of Blacklight and that kind of thing.
Yep.
And essentially, so like what Charlie's saying is Stranger Things, they just released 3 pops. I think they had some merchandise like a t-shirt, a couple other little things, but they're Blacklight Stranger Things characters. So they released Dustin, 11, and then the Demogorgon. And now at this point, I'm a little torn when it comes to Blacklight. Like I love the way Blacklight looks. I love from the very beginning. I was able to grab the original 4 Marvel ones, the Captain America, Iron Man, those when they first dropped, and I got lucky. And since then, I'm kind of been able to keep up with most of them, except for the really high end Grails that are now kind of hard to grab. But I'm afraid that they're almost doing too
Too
many
many.
and it's kind of taking away the cool factor and the exclusivity of it. And they still look awesome, but the only reason why I think that they're now doing too many is because now when you see something like this, like Stranger Things, I just don't feel like it fits as much to them versus a comic book character type of thing. The Demogorgon I thought was sick. I think that kind of makes sense. That's cool. But I get the fact like you can't just make the Demogorgon. It'd be a little
Yeah.
weird and not do anything else Blacklight. So I get it. I just think making people Blacklight. Like, I thought the same thing with Alice, and even those are cartoons, and I still thought they were a little weird. Some of them. So I'm kind of torn when it comes to that. Like I just don't want it to become the new like Chrome, where like
There's way
Funko
too
made
many.
a billion Chrome pops, right? And it's just like, all right, don't go too crazy. It seems like it's obviously besides Funko itself, it's an exclusive thing they have with Target because at this point everything is a
Been
Target
there.
exclusive. Yeah, except for the Funko Shop exclusive, which was the Alice stuff. So no one else is selling that. So that now makes me think, all right, that's good and bad because we have our qualms with Target. But I don't know, like, what do you think overall about it? Like, I know we tried to get them. I did not get lucky, but you did, I believe, right?
Yes, I did.
On the pre-order, right?
I did pre-order once again, see if we'll get them.
Yeah.
I personally like the Stranger Things ones because it kind of had the 80s vibe, in my opinion, which lends along to the look of like the black, like I like the figures they decided to do it with. If it was like
Yeah.
if it wasn't from the last season, I don't think it would have worked if it was, the first appearance of like Dustin or 11. It just
Mhm.
would be, that wouldn't fit in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree with that.
but I do think yes, they shouldn't overdo it. I didn't get the Marvel ones in the beginning because I kind of try to stay away from at this point just like random things that don't actually aren't like movie or TV accurate. But
Yeah.
you got me thinking like, the Marvel ones are pretty cool. So that's why when they came out with the last drop, I was like, you know what, maybe I will try to get some of those.
Yeah.
And then the Alice in Wonderland, as a big Disney fan, like I didn't feel the need to try to get those. They do look cool. And I guess they kind of go with like the psychedelic vibe of that movie, if you look at it from that
That's true.
lens.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
true.
still like it's random. I'm assuming that's why they chose that movie to have
Yeah.
blacklight pops.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's got to be like a reason why they're doing it, and they're not. I mean, it could be a little random, but at the same time, when you look at it that way, you've kind of actually broke down why they probably came out with each one of them. So like, so I get it. I mean, they've even dabbled into. Actually, I totally was wrong about the Target thing. Hot Topic was the one that actually dropped
Oh, they
the
had the
DC
DC
ones.
ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So they did. So I actually, those, I have the Joker and the Batman, being big fans of those two characters. I usually try to get those. I didn't get the Harley, and that was the only other one. They only dropped 3 black lights for them. Uh, but I don't know. I just think like a comic book character to me lends to it better. But I get the reasoning that you're saying, like with the Stranger Things stuff, it was a newer season. It's very 80s. The clothes that she was wearing, that Eleven's wearing, is awesome in blacklight. Like I think that is super sick. But maybe if they made it like a partial blacklight, her face not being blacklight, but all her outfit and stuff, I think that still would have been just as cool. And it would have made it a little bit different. And it wouldn't have seemed so overboard. Like they're just trying to spit out blacklight like crazy, because it's selling. And we all know when it comes to Funko, if something's selling,
They're
they're
gonna
going
keep
to spit
going.
it out no matter what. And we're still going to buy them and that kind of thing. So I'm a little torn about it. I tried though. And yet again, I didn't get lucky through Funko. I ended up coming out with one item. This time, I do want to say, maybe they heard our last podcast when we were saying that that when you cash out and they lose stock, that you don't know what they're losing. Because this time, I had everything in the cart, went to cash out, and it actually redid the cart to say this was the only thing available and cashed me out with that.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that was cool. So
Yeah,
thank you to
it
Target for
worked.
listening to us at Collector Chatter Podcast. But yeah, basically that was better. I like that. Okay. So what happened was I didn't get any of the 3 pops, but I got my 4th item in there, which was a t-shirt. Yay. So I'm gonna get another blacklight t-shirt just like this one. So I'm excited about that, but I mean, I'm not excited that I didn't get the pops. However, this was a pre-order. So that means there will be eventually, I'm sure, in a store. That's a whole nother issue of trying to get it in a store level, especially depending on where you're living. But you might get lucky. I've been seeing more and more people now showing off the Ant-Man and the Thanos and those ones that just recently dropped that they actually got at their own Target store. So it seems like they're kind of spreading them out little by little,
which is good.
Yeah. So if that's the case, I'm okay with, because those were ones I missed as well, except for the Thanos. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get those in store. But kind of going off of that, we also had some huge news in the DC world and Funko, and that was Batman Day, of course, was the other day. And on Friday, I believe they officially announced the drop coming soon of some new DC pops, and I think they're sick. I know
They're
we kind of talked about it a little
they're
bit.
awesome.
I personally think they did a really good job with these. When it comes to Batman, they have so many different Batman pops that they kind of just keep redoing. And I like that they dabbled into a couple different things. So one was artist series, not as pumped about those. I think one's a Funko Shop exclusive, and then the other 2 are actually like Hollywood exclusives, right? Like the
Yeah,
store.
one's in the store in Hollywood, and then the other one's for the store in Seattle.
Okay, yeah. So they got 2 exclusives through them, which look very similar to the Target ones, like with the
Yeah.
Batman logos all over them. The Funko Shop one is a little different. It does look a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little different. It's almost
I'm
like a
completely over
camo.
those pops. Like I just think they're, quite frankly, I think
I
they're
agree.
dumb.
I agree with
Yeah.
those 3 specifically. I'm not going to try to even get those. Like, I get why they're dropping them, but I don't know. I got the Target ones, the ones that dropped kind of a little while now ago, but those I'm not so excited for. What I'm excited for is the diecast, the Batman Beyond stuff, which was pops and soda, and the Joker King's pretty cool because it's a different character. You don't really see that so often, but let's talk about that diecast. Like, that thing to me was sick. I just recently got my hands on the Captain America one, and I'm so glad that I got it because, one, it's the first in its kind. It's the first pop diecast. It's number 1 in the line, and It's cool. It's Captain America. I love the setup. The display is amazing. The way they comes in the box, all that is cool. But I mean, it's Batman now, so like I definitely got to get it. So I mean, what did you think of it? I like the mold that they used too. Like
Yeah,
just overall, I thought it was sick.
I think it looks awesome. I think the Batman one looks cooler than the Captain America one. And I know you, like you said, you got your hands on the Captain America one. I
Mhm.
wasn't able to get it. Kind of regret not being able to get it. It does look pretty cool. And I never really thought about it. Like it is the first one they've ever made. So it is going to be a pretty
Yeah.
cool collectible. Like that didn't even go through my mind when that dropped. I was just like, oh, Funko is really now just trying to like take people's money for stuff that
Oh
is
yeah, of
just
course.
totally random for them. But I hope these stay kind of limited and they don't now just make this huge diecast line of like so many characters.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's hard to say, but I think they will. And the only reason why I bring that up is two reasons, actually. One, maybe a lesser reason, is that one of the newest lines that they kind of seem to have slowly not continued with and not, been a little bit more exclusive is the pop albums. Now, I actually have every pop album that has released. There's been 9 currently. I believe there's one more maybe that's supposed to be coming out. Some of these got delayed, so it's a little weird, but I do have 9 of them. And it's the same kind of thing like you said. It was a brand new one and I was like, you know what? First one was Notorious B.I.G., thought it was super cool and it was number 1. So I looked at it in that way. I was like, you know what? It's number 1, it's the first in the line. Let's see what else they drop and I can keep up with it. So it's like not something that I'm trying to play catch up on, like I'm sure you think with Star Wars or
Yep.
something, some of those stuff that are so big, right? So I looked at it that way. I think they're cool. Some people don't like the pop albums. I personally love the way they look. So when the diecast came out, I mean, I think even in episode 1 last week, I mentioned that I didn't go after it initially. So I didn't try to get it on the drop, and then it sold out on the initial. It was, again, if you guys didn't know, it was on the summer convention, so the virtual con of San Diego that recently just came out, and I didn't go after it the first time, didn't get it, and then they had a restock, and during the restock is where I thought again, and then I was like, you know what, let me just bite the bullet and get it. So then I did, and I'm actually happy that I did because, like you said, it was the first one, so now I know I have that. The Batman one is actually number 3, which means that there's a number 2 floating out there somewhere. It will be released somewhere, but I have not seen too much news. I've heard of rumor that it's Iron Man. Somebody said that they saw like a glam shot or something, so I don't know. There's nothing official, but yeah, I love the Batman one. I thought it was cool. I think black lends well to like a die cast. It's very shiny, like, looking material. So I think that's going to be cool. Yeah, and I mean it's a cool thing. It's a cool mold. If you haven't seen it, I did do a release, like a show off of mine, and it's a pretty cool case that basically fits over the pop, and the pop itself is made out of that, heavier material. So it's a pretty cool thing. I like the way it's boxed and everything. But we talked about possibly the second one maybe being another exclusive that's going to be coming out, maybe on a con or something, and maybe that's why we're kind of still waiting for it. But besides that, I mean, I know you like the Batman Beyond stuff. That looks sick. There's
Yeah,
a
the
pop
Batman Beyond looks awesome.
and a soda.
Exactly.
So
What's
you know
funny, I
that.
think Batman Beyond in general is awesome, but I do think that's going to be one of the futures of the DC movie universe. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure Michael Keaton, he's back. He's going to be in the Flash movie. And
Hmm.
I've heard rumors that he's going to be in a Batman Beyond, whether it's an HBO Max series or a movie. So I think they're
Yeah.
gearing up. Let's start seeing, are people going to be into this in Funko's point of view? And like, why not make a Batman Day exclusive? Like, I want that pop really bad.
Yeah. That was one that right away I saw it too, and I was like, this is sick. I don't have, because they have a couple pops in
They're
the
like
Batman Beyond
really
already.
early, like
Yeah,
early on
but
in
they're
Funko's.
very expensive now to
Yes.
try to get
Yeah.
because of that. Yeah, exactly. And it's so exclusive, so hard to find. You don't really see them much or for sale, and if you do, they're very expensive. So once I saw it, I was like, well, that's sick because it's definitely something new. This entire drop is a Funko Shop exclusive. That's a whole nother thing. It's
Which I
very
don't
similar
like. Yeah.
it's the Alice in Wonderland all over again, basically, because every soda, every pop, they all dropped at the same time on Funko Shop, and you had no idea when it was. So this didn't drop on Batman Day. It didn't
Which
drop
I
on the
think is
weekend.
like stupid, in my opinion. I get it's the weekend, but maybe they didn't want to, if the case there was any, you know, problems with the site and they didn't have people working, but they're a big company. I feel like they should, or, you know, it's
Yeah.
a special day, you have people, you know, pay attention. I think that was just a missed opportunity. It seems weird now to like get these pops. I mean, not that we still don't want them, but
Yeah.
they're for Batman Day and it's over.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. And I agree in the sense of like it would have been the perfect thing. I think the only thing that kind of makes it like still like okay, and you'll still be able to get it is because they don't really say that they're for Batman Day. I don't believe any of them say anything like that. So I think it's only the Funko Shop exclusive sticker
Oh,
or
that's
anything
funny.
that's
I thought it had a Batman Day sticker on it, but
so it
maybe I'm
could.
completely wrong.
Yeah, we might have to double check on that because if it does, then in that case, it totally would be weird. But I don't know. I don't know if I remember seeing it or not. I'm not positive. I know for sure it's Funko Shop, obviously exclusive sticker, but I mean, I guess we'll see. I'm excited for that pop and the soda, just that combo. And if I can get both of them, it'd be nice. Because I like that there's now a couple other versions of Batman sodas coming out versus the old original ones that they released. So that's something that I'm definitely like, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, that was a pretty cool job, honestly. I mean, I thought it was pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm definitely really excited for that. Other pops that they announced last week, I think, were the 20th anniversary for Monsters Inc. I'm actually a big Monsters Inc. fan, but they just I don't need to get them. I already have some
Yeah.
Monsters pops, and there's nothing really special about them. Like that to me, it was just like, oh, let's make new molds of the main characters and like add, you know, an accessory on the pop, which I don't necessarily like when they do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's not anything. I guess if you're a completionist on Monsters Inc. and you love that, then all right, cool. You got 3 or 4 more pops, whatever it is that you can add. I think I have a Sully, and I think that's all I have from there. I mean, I don't go after them too often, but I did see the drop. They're a little weird. We spoke about one of them being scented, which is
Yeah.
odd to have in a pop. I don't know. It was, in my opinion, yeah, I saw them. I didn't think it was the craziest thing. And then another one that I thought uh, that was in the same sense of just being like, okay, just to see it drop was the new Ronald McDonald. I don't know if you saw that. So there is an exclusive Ronald McDonald. I actually saw 2 different ones. One was exclusive as a Thailand. It was like a Thailand
Yeah.
exclusive. And there was like a glow chase or something. And then I think there was a box lunch exclusive that also dropped, which was maybe glitter or diamond or something. But
I do not like when
I
they
don't
do
know.
that.
Yeah, I
Like
don't get it.
I it's exactly like basically from the naked eye, it looks almost exactly the same, like as the original one that they came out with. Besides, yeah, the glitter, the glow in the dark, and I just don't really see.
Yeah, I think the
I
mold's
don't have
exactly the
any.
same.
Yeah, it's yeah. Do you have any of the McDonald's pops? I don't have any.
I so what's funny about those is I do, but when they were talked about, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's McDonald's, a huge
Yep.
name. It's they don't have anything like this. I think it'll be totally cool. Yeah, I'll totally go after them. I was like, maybe they'll have value. They're very, very popular, but I think they're almost too big and too popular that like they probably made 1 billion of them. And now I have all the main ones. So I had gotten the first shop where it was like the Hamburglar, not Grover, go whatever his name is, purple
Grimace.
thing, Grimace, Ronald, like those. And then now I have them. They're sitting in the closet. I don't display them. I'm like,
Now,
eh.
did you
And even
get
if I
the?
want to sell them, they're so cheap. No one's gonna buy them for like $2-3.
So you didn't get the ones with the McDonald's sticker on them.
So I didn't get the ones that like were exclusive through there or like the 5-pack
Okay.
that came out, which would be a cool collector's thing. No, I just got the individual normal combo ones. I think they may have dropped on Funko. I don't know where it was, but they're not exclusive to anywhere. They're bare bones normal commons. And now I'm just kind of like, meh. And I just don't think I would have at this point. But back then I thought it'd be a little bit more of a hype thing. But yeah, it's one of those things that I don't think is, I don't know. They do that a lot. So it's kind of just another one of those drops. It's just like, all right, cool. That's cool. But I don't, this Thailand thing, they made it seem like it was so a crazy process to get it. It was super exclusive and whatever, but I don't know. I'll
Yeah,
pass on that because it was the
I
same
agree.
pop.
Absolutely no interest, and I feel like they've done that with a few pops with Thailand, and it's just like I don't I don't need it.
Yeah, it doesn't hit the like right. Like I feel like it should have or what they thought it was going to, but I don't know. Then there was also, this one was pretty cool. So the armed forces, basically, they started coming out with some military style pops, Air Force. was announced, Army, and Marines. I think those are the only ones I saw. If I missed another one, I
Yeah,
know
I
my
think
brother's
that
in the
was it.
Navy. I was talking to him about it. I'm sure they're gonna probably drop a Navy. They probably have to, maybe Coast Guard, stuff like that. But they were really cool. I thought they looked cool. They were in different outfits. They had female, male. They had all different,
They had a
kinds, and they
bunch.
basically, yeah, and they dropped them all for pre-order. So those are pretty cool. I'm actually surprised they didn't have these already. If you really think about it.
I mean, I agree. They came out with like a bunch of frontline. I know it's different, but I remember
Yeah,
at the beginning of the pandemic, like frontline workers, and you would think they would have already had, yeah, some
yeah,
sort of military pop.
that's true. Yeah. So I mean, maybe it was a licensing thing. That's usually probably the biggest hurdle for them when it comes to
Yeah.
that. But that was like a big thing. Any other news you saw that kind of?
No, I think those were like the main ones. Once again, I'm sure we're gonna have tons of news to talk about next week. They just
Yeah,
legitimately keep coming out with pops.
it keeps coming out, and it keeps like, some of these things are probably hopefully going to come out for sale. Obviously the Batman stuff was only an announcement, it wasn't even a pre-order, so that's kind of one that now we're just sitting and waiting because it's through Funko Shop, meaning it's going to be a random drop. We're probably not going to be notified, even though they said sign up for notifications.
Yeah, you get notified and it's already sold out for the
Yeah,
most
I
part.
hate that every
It's
time.
pointless.
Luckily, we follow, whether it's on Twitter or on Instagram, there's
Yeah.
people that drop links all the time. And that's the most reliable because they'll drop a link, it's out. You got to go on there and it's gone in a few minutes. Then Funko will just be like, oh, you want to get this item? It's out now. And like, it'll either be sold out or you never get the email because it's sold out before they could even send you the
Yeah,
notification.
Target does exactly the same thing. It's like, oh, those like the Blacklight Marvel pops, they already went
Mhm.
on sale. They sent out an email to me, and it's like, oh yeah, they're long gone.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. But yeah, that was the main news of what was going on within the last week. Some cool stuff, some stuff, but we'll keep at it every week. It's the same kind of thing. But I know we want to talk about something that we both feel like would be really cool to kind of pick each other's brains. We also asked you guys out there, our listeners, viewers, and stuff through Instagram, to give us a few of your answers, and we have a couple of them here. So we'll kind of run through some of the stuff that we got from you guys, and then we'll go in depth more into what we personally think Funko should make. So our question, of course, was, what do you think Funko should make, whether it's a pop or a line fully or whatever, that they don't already have that you wish they did? So do you want to go into ours? You want to go through some of the submissions and stuff that we got online?
Yeah, let's go through some of the submissions, and then we'll go through ours because I don't think anything that was submitted was stuff that we were thinking about.
Yeah, I don't think either. And I mean, some of them were pretty cool, and I didn't think about them. And then some, I don't really know too much about. So I guess we'll just go over through a few. One was the Police Academy pops. So someone was a big Police Academy
Which
fan,
I'm
I guess.
surprised they don't make those actually.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones, and it's almost, sometimes when you think of this, like, you don't think of it every day because there's so many, right? You want to say Funko makes everything, but obviously they don't. So then you start to sit and you hear, whether you come up with it or somebody else comes up with it, and you're like, oh my god, that totally does make sense, or that totally would be cool. And yeah, I saw that one, and I think, like you said, that would be a cool one. I don't know why they haven't, but again, when it comes to these, I'm assuming a lot of it is license. It's
Yes.
licensing, not having the licensing, not being able to release them, or maybe they just don't think there's enough demand.
Demand.
Although they're coming out with foodie, I don't even want to get into it. They're
Well, it's
coming out with
funny.
stuff that
Yeah. I one thing that they do interesting as a company, I feel like Brian, the CEO, for example, there's a lot of things that he's passionate about, things that he grew up loving. He's
yeah,
making a point to get the license and making those pops. Like I know he's really into like a lot of like the ad icons. So,
yeah,
there's
which
a
is a huge
line.
line for them.
It's a huge line. And I think it's pretty random, but I know it's something that he's passionate about. They're cool.
Mhm.
There's just so many and they're so random. I haven't really gotten any of them. I think I have one tuna, Charlie the tuna,
Yeah,
Starkist, but
Charlie.
yeah, that was my
Yeah.
pledge name, my fraternity. So I kind of wanted that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, not to go off tangent. So it's like kind of some things that they're interested, unless they know there's this huge demand. Like I remember Harry Potter took forever. They were finally like, we need to get this license because we know people are going to buy them.
Yeah. It's weird. You think like sometimes that's the case, and then sometimes, like, I feel like they know they can sell something, And it almost seems like they're not trying to. I don't know. It obviously we don't know the entire process of
Yeah.
Funko and how they do this kind of stuff, but either way, I mean, that's one that we got. We got a cartoon here. This one would be cool. Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I don't know if you ever watched
No,
that
yeah.
cartoon or a fan of it, but someone said that one. So I think that would be cool in the sense of like it's animated. Animated stuff usually lends pretty well to the Funko vinyl. Like it comes out usually pretty cool. So I think that would be a good one. You already got 3 characters there. They can totally be a 3-pack. They can come individually, whatever. So I think that one was pretty good. This one I didn't know if they didn't have these, but you can keep me, honest if they don't. But someone did say Star Wars Episode 2.
So it's weird. It's debatable. There's like Count Dooku. They have a Funko Pop of him. His first appearance is in Episode 2, but
Okay.
it could have been Episode 3 pop. They don't have like a lot of like Anakin, for example. They don't have an Episode 2 pop of him. They have an Episode 1 and Episode 3. So there's like there isn't an Episode 2 line. When I saw that one, I never really thought of it, and I did think that was a good one as a huge Star Wars fan. But there's characters in those movies that they make pops of, so it's kind of debatable
at some point. Sense. Yeah,
they don't.
Well, that's yeah. I was just gonna say that's the thing with that kind of a franchise where because there's so many different movies and spinoffs and stuff that like the character probably is made maybe just not so specific to like an outfit or very specific to like that version of the movie. That's probably that case. But this one I thought was sick. And I heard this one come up before. And as a huge sports fan, I'm actually shocked that they don't have it. And it is the sports moments. So I'm pretty sure what they mean by that is there's obviously movie moments. So we have movie moments, which if you guys don't know, Funko will sometimes come out with what they call a movie moment. And it's basically a scene that is in a movie, whether it has one pop and like some kind of secondary piece of something in the scene, or a second person in the scene, or whatever it is, and they're acting out essentially a very, very famous or specific scene from that movie. Sports moments would be sick because we do have big iconic, sports moments where like specifically like one I could think of at the top of my head is Michael Jordan doing the shrug, when he was playing the Blazers. Like something like that would be pretty cool. Maybe a Tiger Woods like on the green and doing like the the fist pump thing. I think like that'd be pretty cool. I mean, what do you think about that? I know you're a sports fan, so I'm sure you would think.
I do. When I saw that, I thought that was a great idea. Part of me feels like maybe they haven't made it because it could be hard for it to actually look like the sports moment. But yeah, you could do like those two you just said were perfect, like iconic poses. And then it's like, as a huge sports person, I mainly collect the pops of the teams I like, and they make maybe 2 of like the players. Part of me could be like, do they just don't think it's gonna sell? That's like, where a movie, it doesn't, I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people like teams, or maybe around where they're from, or where they grew up or whatnot, or teams that are really popular during a point of your life. It's just like there's only so many that maybe people would actually buy of them, because it took them a long time to come out with the sports ones.
Yeah, and which I was actually shocked because like I said, I got into Funko around 4 years ago or so, and sports ones, I don't know if they may have not been out even at that time, or if they were just coming out. I didn't really go towards them. I wasn't gravitated towards them. I didn't see them as often. And then now I'm like on this whole adding a sports pop almost every week, because I am building up, because unlike what you were saying is I started to collect just players I like, whether it's a team or not a team that I like, or just someone who's a big name, or, a superstar or a legend kind of a athlete. So I love the sports line. They're usually cheap. You don't usually need to overpay for them, because unless it's a very, very old grail that you're going to see, you're usually not seeing that. So they're pretty easy to get. But a moment thing would be cool. But I get your point in the sense of like, it'd probably be tough to do it, maybe to redo it, like to be very specific for you to know that specific moment. But it could be a cool thing if it was very exclusive and there was only a handful of them, but they happen to be a very big moment that most people would know, or would at least be good enough to sell. So
like one,
I guess that's kind of what they had to
it's not a sports moment per se, but one I think they did a really good job was like the Ken Griffey Jr. pop. It's his like iconic swing.
Yes.
It's not just him standing there like a lot of the other ones that they have. Or,
Yes.
and I know like I have Noah Syndergaard on the Mets, and I liked that it's him pitching on the mound. So
Yes.
they've gotten them to be a little bit better rather than I have like I have Sam Darnold one, which weirdly enough, so yeah, I mean he's not even on the Jets anymore, and that's the first Jets pop that they even made. So that's only 3 years ago, and he's just standing there. Like
Yeah.
they
Most
don't.
of them are. Most of them just kind of standing there. The pitchers I found, because I got a Garrett Cole one on the Yankees, and he is pitching on the mound. The pitchers, I feel like they've done a little bit better job with that. Basketball players usually are just kind of standing, holding the ball. Like they are pretty basic when it comes to that. I like that most of the time you can point out that that's the actual athlete. Like they do a really good job of
They do.
making his hair or making whatever, thing about him. Like even Max Scherzer has two different color eyes, like two different color pop eyes, because in real life he has two different color eyes. So they do a cool job with that. I think it would sell. Sports, everything does sell at some, in some capacity. Maybe if they market it the right way. But I thought that was definitely a cool one. And then one of the last ones I wanted to bring up was another one that I thought would be really cool is Zelda. So that's kind of like a game thing, and that's a big one.
It's funny. I didn't see that submission. So that is actually the line that I want.
Perfect segue.
So my number one line would be Nintendo. That's definitely a
Okay.
licensing thing, but they need that. Those would sell like that's a license that they're leaving a lot of money on the table. Now, I know Nintendo is really tight with at least their old leadership was with licensing anything. I mean, Zelda
Yeah.
is one of my favorite properties of all time. And the fact that there isn't a Zelda like live action movie, there was a
Yeah,
Netflix
that too.
series rumored once. Um, they have new leadership because unfortunately their old CEO has passed away a few years ago. I think they're
Mhm.
starting to get a little bit more with the times. Like not to get off on a Nintendo tangent, but like they decided to finally make like cell phone apps. Like that was never a thing before. Like you could
Yeah.
download a game on an iPhone before. It's like you had to stick to their hardware. I'm hoping and I know a Mario animation movie's coming out that they partner with Universal because they actually just opened up a Universal theme park of Nintendo. I feel like the pop's got to be coming sooner rather than later, but that would be my number one line that they
Yeah.
don't have that I would like.
That's actually even funnier because that was one of my main ones as well.
Okay.
And
That's so
it's
funny.
kind of funny as we talk about this, because me and Charlie said to each other, we're like, let's go into this blind. We don't want to tell each other. We're going to just say what we genuinely think would be the best. And I actually like that you said that, because I was a little bit more specific though. I think Nintendo is the licensing that they need to find, but I was very specific in the sense of Super Mario
Yeah.
and the Mario games, whether it's Mario Kart, Mario Party, that kind of thing. And just that realm of characters would be so big. And I think it would sell even crazier than any of these other ones that I feel like they're trying to do it with. Like, I want to say, let's say Pokemon. To me, Pokemon is huge, obviously.
Yep.
But in the pop world, I feel like I mean, I might be wrong. I mean, people are buying them, they're out there, but I don't know if it's as big as they thought it was going to catch on to. What do you think about that? But I think like maybe because there's so many Pokemon that they just know they can just milk that out forever.
Yeah. I think that's a problem. I have like a handful of Pokemon Pops, but just like
Mhm.
ones that I liked. I have no need to like try to complete the entire collection. I also think they've come out like with random ones. Like the
Yeah.
beginning was
Like at
like,
weird times,
yeah,
even.
weird times, totally random. The first line that came out was like the OG Pokemon. Now it's like they're
Yeah.
just like totally picking random ones that I don't think anyone would want unless you're like a hardcore Pokemon fan.
Yeah. Or like 5 versions of
Yeah.
Pikachu, which you already got a Pikachu. So I think with Nintendo, though, especially Super Mario specifically, I think you would get people that have never ever purchased a Funko Pop
I
purchasing a Super Mario Funko Pop.
I completely agree with you.
And that's why I
Yeah.
think it's got to be something that they do. But I know for a fact, like you said, I mean, we obviously don't really know for a fact, but it's 100% the licensing, in the sense of it's just so hard for them to get it. And like you said, Nintendo itself already is so locked on like getting their licensing out that that's probably the only reason why. But it's crazy because both of these companies would make so much money if they figured that out and they were able to drop them. I just think with the amount of characters you can do with Mario Kart, you can do Mario. They can even be rides. They could be in the little cars because they already make pop
Yeah,
rides basically.
there's so
There's
many.
so many sodas. You could do the original guys, the Super Mario, Luigi, like make them into sodas. Bowser, that would be so sick. And it would just honestly, it makes the most sense because it would be easy to make into a vinyl figure because it's an animated figure, so it's going to be easy for them to translate it, and it would sell. Like and it's worldwide. I mean, everyone
World
knows Nintendo.
Everyone, yeah, worldwide
Yeah.
is like that's exactly. I mean, that would be popular everywhere. Huge.
So that's crazy. Yeah, I think that would be the biggest one. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. They got to figure it out. I think that'd be sick. Zelda, like it's funny you said because you know a little bit more of that. I know about Zelda a little bit, but not too much to know like every single character besides like Link and stuff. But obviously, I know that it's huge. Like that's a whole world of its own. I don't know if I don't think they've really dabbled into that side of like gaming pops. Do you know of? I think only like I feel like they only have really like some PlayStation ones
Yeah,
and like
PlayStation and then like some Sega ones, but absolutely no
oh yeah,
Nintendo
like
IP.
Sonic and
Like
stuff.
it's weird. Like Pokemon is a Nintendo game,
Sure.
but it's owned by the Pokemon company. It gets a little
Okay.
confusing.
Yeah.
So I
So
think
Nintendo doesn't
that's,
own them in any way.
yeah, they're just partnered with them. It's their
Okay.
IP that's owned. So I think that's why, like, if people are listening, oh, they make Nintendo Pops, well, they really don't. So it's,
Yeah. That
and I
makes
do
sense.
think the main one would be the Super Mario Brothers, Zelda, Metroid's a big game, like Donkey Kong.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, you can
Donkey
even make
Kong.
like a Super Smash Brothers line where
Yeah.
you're just picking all these different characters. Also, they may. I mean, are you familiar with Amiibo, like Nintendo's like collectibles?
Yeah, so I don't have any, or I've never, but I know I've heard the name and I know that they exist, and yeah, so
Part of me
that
is
is
like,
owned by Nintendo. That's
yeah,
their
that's
own.
their own. Like they may only make like their own stuff.
That's
So like
crazy.
that's I think the biggest problem. And they may see it as a competitor, which is dumb. I mean, Nintendo fans are fanatics. I mean, I used to work right next to a Nintendo store in New York City. And I mean, that store is always jam packed, whether it's tourists or people who live in the city and they are buying everything. When there's drops for stuff that you could easily just go get at like Target, Amazon, or Best Buy, people wanted to get it from the Nintendo store. You
Yeah.
made Funko Pops in there. That would be a great to like exclusives you can only get at the Nintendo store when they have an online shop. Like, yeah, I mean, I could go on all day. Like, it's a huge missed
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. Just like I said, the biggest thing I see out of it is like I said, that you would get people completely outside of the Funko community coming into it and just wanting those. And I think it would just sell so big. And I mean, that's one of the biggest ones I think. But another one, so I did have one that was a little bit more specific. This is just for a personal reason why I, think they should make these pops. But I do believe you're a fan of the show as well. But my favorite show of all time is Breaking Bad.
Yep.
So I love the pops that they have. I actually have a few of them. I don't have the very, very expensive ones. They're really old pops. They've come out a few years ago. They haven't released any new ones. But I think they should release some of the secondary characters that they haven't done yet. And that being Walter Jr., the son. Hector Salamanca would be cool. The little guy, he can be on the bell sitting in his little wheelchair.
Yes.
That would be sick. Even Badger and Skinny Pete, they can even be a 2-pack as like, the friends. Like there's so many characters in that show that I feel like they could still release, and hardcore Breaking Bad fans would definitely want them. Maybe not everyone in the world would want them because not everyone has seen it, but that's just a personal, like I would want those pops. So I know I would want to get them. And that's something that I think would be pretty sweet.
I totally agree. I have a few of the original Breaking Bad pops, but they definitely didn't. I feel like that show was in its peak before they started like pumping out a bunch of different ones. But yeah, why not
Yeah.
bring it back? I mean, they do it all the time. I
Yeah.
think have they made a Better Call Saul line? I think they have.
No,
They haven't.
I don't think so. They have a Saul Goodman in
Okay.
Breaking Bad, but I don't. I mean, I'm not 100% positive, but I don't think they have. I don't know if
Yeah, I
where
wonder
it
if
says it on the
it's
box.
so weird. Like, I wonder if that didn't do well for them why they wouldn't bring it back. I mean, that's one of the most popular shows of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. And the thing is, they're very. You don't see them. They're all vaulted, so you're not going to see them being resold like
No.
just by a general retailer. You're going to get them off of somebody on eBay or Mercari or something like that, and they're expensive. The PPG values are really high. They're hard to get, and even if their PPG value isn't so high, and I came across this when I started to say, okay, I want to start trying to collect these. Some of the ones that have like a PPG value where it's like, $40 or whatever, no one's letting it go for less than $70 or something like that. So it's like you come across that a lot where even though it's valued at a certain amount, people know it's very, very, like if you're I'm a hardcore Break Bed fan. So like I'm going to want to try to get something. And I feel like people that have them that don't, and they're just trying to sell it, they know people are going to pay for them. So personally, I think that would be a super cool one in the sense of like, it's secondary characters and that kind of thing. Besides the huge, obviously Nintendo line. Is there any other ones?
One for me, and it's relatively new, so maybe it will be coming out sooner rather than later. But I love the show Ted Lasso, and I would really like them to make a Ted Lasso line. I would definitely want to get a bunch of those, and I think those.
Yeah, that would be sick. That's
ton
actually
of characters. And I think that would lend to a really good line. And then the other ones I would really want, this is just personally, but they've made a lot of director pops. I would like them to make a George Lucas one. I'm assuming he just doesn't want that, but I think it would be really cool.
There has to be a reason, right? There has to be.
Yeah,
because they already make all his movies. So
he's probably just not into it, but whatever.
There's not many of them though, right? If I'm not mistaken.
There's more than you actually would think.
Yeah,
there's actually a Vince Gilligan one, the creator.
I was gonna say I have Vince Gilligan. Yeah, that's the only one well, actually, no, it's not technically. Yeah, I guess that's the only one I have.
A lot of them were con exclusives and like only at the show. Like they made a Taika Waititi one I really wanted. I wasn't able to get.
Yes,
I saw that one. I have a J.J. Abrams one.
I've seen those.
And then
I know there's a female director recently.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who that was. I can't remember her name. So there's not that many.
Yeah.
But that, and I know I would like them to make a Steve Jobs Funko Pop. I know that's totally random, but
that would be cool. That could be like an icon pop or something.
Exactly. Which they've have that. I don't have any of those, but I think I love Steve Jobs, so I would like a Steve Jobs one.
Yeah, because I don't think there's an author line, but I think some of the, because I have Stephen King, and I think
there is.
Is there? So he's under Icon. So I have two Stephen King ones, and he's under Icon.
You know what? That's probably what it is, because like I have a George R. R. Martin pop, Game of Thrones,
and I think he's also under Icon. I think, yeah. So I think like Icon. I mean, Icon could be a line that they could totally, because I don't think it's that big. I know that there's some like those that we said, but I think that like having some of these big names we could totally get on there, being like Steve Jobs. Like I mean, in tech world in general, he's Bill Gates. Like getting them on one would be pretty cool. I mean, Steve Jobs has a look, so that you can.
It lends to it.
Yeah, you give him his turtleneck. You can get that look totally, and still actually pull it off. And I was gonna say, even with the other one that you said, oh man, who was one of? Now I just completely lost train of thought of one of the ones you just said you would want.
George Lucas,
and then Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah, Ted Lasso.
With Ted Lasso, I mean, the mustache, he has a look. His players, they already make sports pops, so like that would be a really cool one. And they have HBO, well, some sort of HBO licensing, I'm assuming, with Game of Thrones pops that they came out with. So I think that would be good. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. I mean, thinking about this, when we thought about this question, it made me think like the reasoning behind like why they do some and why they don't. And like, I don't know. I think that'd be cool. So someone actually brought one up too that I was gonna say I totally agreed on this one in the sense of was stand-up comedians. So they have that line. They just recently, I want to say, released it because there's only about like 4 comedians. And it's Fluffy Gabriel Iglesias. There's like 3 versions of him.
Oh, he's got a ton of them.
I don't know what they have that deal with him, but they have so many of him. But I actually have a Joe Coy pop signed by him, which was one sold as a signed pop that he did through his website. So that was a cool one. But someone was saying Dave Chappelle, Richard Pryor, some of these big iconic comedians, I think would be pretty cool too. And that
I
kind
agree.
of would also be something that could be sold outside of the Funko community just because of fans of, those comedians. So I think that would be pretty cool.
Cool.
But I know we wanted to just kind of end things with so we didn't do this last week, but we do want to kind of just go into just some pops, maybe show off one pop
Yeah.
of ours that we, personally like for whatever reason. Whatever the reason may be, just to kind of show off a little bit of our collection every week and just to kind of get you, seeing what we like to collect and whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. You want to start off, Charlie? What
Yeah,
do you
right
have?
here. So weirdly, speaking of directors, I have a signed Kevin Smith pop that was exclusive to the Secret Stash, which is a comic book store, which is
That's
actually
sick.
in a neighboring town of mine. Kevin Smith, I'm a huge fan. I love that, he grew up around where I'm from, and it's just a really cool pop. He's just such a cool dude. I mean, meeting him to sign this, he loves Funko Pops too. He's a nerd as
Yeah.
he
Oh
is,
yeah, he
he
definitely
practices what
is.
he preaches, and I really just love this pop. And he is another one. He has an iconic look, like show it again, like it looks like him, like, so it's
So
pretty
he's
cool.
under director.
It
He's
is,
under
it's
what's
weird.
he?
This one's television, it says.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
It's weird.
Which is weird because that would be like
But it's
just
for his
TV.
store, because even like the back, it shows the store.
Okay,
I
that's an
think they
odd
didn't
one
know
though.
what to
Why?
do with.
Yeah, because even movies would have made more sense, I think,
Yeah, it's
than television because they have a movies, obviously.
yeah, it
I
is
wonder why.
weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then like it has a special sticker of the anniversary of his store.
That's cool. So you went to the store
Yeah.
and then he was signing them.
Yep.
That's actually something cool that I haven't unfortunately like been able to get like go to somewhere get it signed. I haven't visited cons. I know we want to do. I definitely want to bring up in another episode. We talked about this before too a little bit. Cons, going to cons, virtual cons, and the differences and that kind of stuff. But I haven't gone to any actual physical cons, so that's something I missed out on. The only signed pop that I had, like I said, was a Joe Coy one, and that was something that he bought or he sold through his actual store. Like it was the Joe Coy store, and you could buy the pop regular with no signature. You could buy it signed, for a different price, that kind of thing. But the pop that I have, and this is kind of funny because it kind of went off of what we were talking about, pops I want to be made. And it's like I said, because it's my favorite show, is my Walter White,
It's a great
which
pop.
is in the hazmat suit. And I mean, I have the Jesse Pinkman one as well. These are just the regular ones, so they're not the glow in the dark. So they do have a glow in the dark version of both of these, and then they also have them in like a green suit, which I think was an exclusive to Entertainment Earth, maybe I believe. And those are a little bit more pricey, but I mean, I just love this thing. I mean, like I mentioned it before, it's my favorite show. So of all time, I think it's one of the greatest written shows ever. I think it was brilliantly done directing, and then the acting was just insane. I mean, we just
Yeah,
like
it's one of my
this
favorite
guy was
shows.
nuts. Yeah, I mean, it was just so cool. But this is one of those lines that, like I said, it is tough to get because it's pretty pricey, especially some of the like really like there's a version of him in like the blue crystal. That one's pretty pricey. Like there's a Jesse Pinkman beat up. I think it's like $800 sometimes the value on that one.
It's
So
crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's nuts that these pops that get sold at a retail of 12 to 15 bucks get up to
Yeah.
this amount of money. But yeah, but I'm glad I got this one. This was not like super crazy. I actually got lucky because I got this when this was not as expensive, I think, as it is now. But yeah, that's my pop. That's because, like I said, it's my favorite show. And yeah, Walter White. I love how he has the glasses too. I love pops with glasses. I mean, I'm sure you do too, because we both
Yeah.
wear glasses. But I love when I see pops with glasses because it's just like it's so funny how they do them. This one doesn't have the lenses. Most of them don't, but I think some of
I
the
think they're
newer ones have been.
starting to, yeah, the newer one.
Yeah, some of the newer ones have been doing it, and but it's cool. So that's my pop. Walter White, Breaking Bad.
Cool.
Yeah, man. So thank you guys for listening. This was episode 2. I'm glad you guys, who did submit your submissions. Thank you guys so much. For future episodes, I'm sure we'll do the same kind of thing. If we have a topic that we feel like, we want to get some of your input in or whatever, make sure that you follow on my Instagram, follow our Instagram specifically at Collector Chatter, so that you can actually see if we ever post something up. I'll usually put something up just to kind of ask you guys a poll or whatever. And don't be scared to answer some of these questions and let us know, because we'll bring it up. Like I said, I mean, we pretty much covered, I believe, almost all, I think, yeah, all the ones that came up that were asked to us. So thank you guys for submitting those answers. But anything on your end, Charlie?
No, yeah, just make sure you follow us over at Collector Chatter. We're on Instagram and we're also on Twitter. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And once again, message us any ideas of things you like, don't like, you want to hear us talk about. And we're really excited to keep this going and just to get all of your feedback.
Yeah, I appreciate all you guys who have listened. I mean, we had some pretty good response from the first episode. It was the first time we've ever done a podcast together like this. So yeah. It was cool. It was fun, but I like hearing it, from you guys to give us some, responses, whether it's in the comments down below here on YouTube, or if you're listening, on whatever platform you're listening to the podcast specifically. Just make sure you head over to our Instagram, follow us there. Like Charlie said, also on Twitter at Collector Chatter without the E, because we ran out of letters. So it's Collector Chat R. So it's a little confusing, but you can find all of that stuff will be linked down below. So make sure that you guys, follow us there, as well as our individual, which you can see here, our handles, Charlie's handle and mine at Pop Migs. But thank you guys so much. That was episode 2. And until next week, we'll see you guys later.
Later, guys.